And
Happy
this
Thursday.
week, what?
Go ahead.
This week, we're not starting from my car.
Yeah, we're starting on time in studio live with the not studio audience. It's Hannah Vaughn and
wait, sorry, and Ethan Micheal.
With the pickup line.
Dude, are we gonna do this in front of a live studio audience sometime? Because that would be cool.
One day.
Take
this forum.
I might be too nervous, man. Because like right now, it's easy to talk and open up because I'm literally in the safety of my bedroom and looking at the camera, which makes it way easier. But opening up about personal topics in front of an audience, yes, I'm a performer, but being personal in front of an audience is far more difficult.
That is so true. I am much more comfortable like portraying an a character in front of people than I am being like vulnerable and like doing something that is personal to me, like specifically. But hey, today we're going to talk about consent. If this is your first time tuning in, this is the pickup line with Ethan Micheal and Hannah Vaughn. We talk about sex, love, dating, relationships, all that good stuff. And you can call in.
Can we talk about how much better you get at this each and every week? You get more detail orientated, more focused. You keep me more on track. Like you're awesome at this.
I'm really learning how to work you, Ethan.
You're learning how to direct me and like keep me from going everywhere.
I'm like, so hey. But you guys can call in 951-364-2430 on the topic of consent today.
We actually have a call screener.
Yeah, we have a call screener today. So we'll see how this goes. It can't get any worse than things that have happened before. So I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
Yeah. So take advantage of that tonight, guys. I do want to preface this episode in particular. I know we've covered some heavy stuff before, and while we are a more lighthearted show, the topic of consent does kind of lend itself to get into some more sensitive topics and scenarios that might be shared tonight. So if that's something that's going to put you in a bad headspace, just keep that in mind. If you need to tune out tonight, we will not blame you or hate you. You are welcome back next week, always. But we hope you stick around and learn a thing or two. Sometimes it's fun to confront those things and freak yourself out. But honestly, if you feel safe to do so. So yeah, call in if you want to talk about it with us. And we can just dive right in, Ethan.
So, consent. I have always defined it as enthusiastic, informed consent, but you and I were talking beforehand, and you don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, no, like I do. So like I was talking about an acronym that I had found, which was clear, coherent, willing, and ongoing. And I think that more resonated with me because when I hear enthusiastic, I think like, do I need to do a backflip or a happy dance or like jazz hands to be like, yeah, I'm super down to do this. Do you guys ever have lazy sex? Like sometimes I'm not super in the mood, but I'm also willing. Like I'm not going to be mad if you do me, but I'm also like, give or take, but I'm not going to be super upset if it happens. It's like, that makes me sound super lame, but like sometimes when you're like really comfy with someone, you just kind of want to have lazy sex and you're like, yeah, I could partake. So like enthusiastic, I'm like, huh, what?
Do me a personal favor. Next time your boyfriend makes a move or asks about sex, please do jazz.
I'm gonna jump up and be like, yeah, we're doing this and I consent.
So I guess to the people in the audience, do you have lazy sex too? Do you know what Hannah's talking about? I mean,
yeah,
I guess,
or am I just really lame?
No, I guess like there's times in the morning you're like, man, I really want to have sex, but you're also like, oh, I'm so tired. But like, so you're right. There wouldn't be this like, oh my God, let's do it right now. It would just be like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, we can fuck, but I'm gonna lay on my stomach. I'm just gonna lay here if that's cool. I'm fucking hungover or something, like, I don't know. What?
I don't think I would be convinced you wanted to sleep with me if that was your response. Like,
Okay.
I
I
wouldn't
always
even.
wanna make sure that my partner feels wanted, but I'm also gonna be honest about, like, where I'm at, like and, like, if I ever really didn't wanna have sex, or if I ever don't wanna have sex, I let the person I'm with know. Because sometimes I'm really into it, but I don't know, I'm just not enthusiastic, but I don't want someone to think that it's a slight on them. It's normally just my mood. But so I mean, I guess that's my only note or criticism about the enthusiastic part. And maybe I'm just misinterpreting what maybe I just assume that enthusiasm means you're doing a fucking backflip and like,
Well, no.
yes.
Like, I couldn't imagine going up to a girl asking her to sleep with me and her response is a backflip. Like,
Would you just feel awesome though? You're like, damn, she
oh,
really, really wants it.
of course. But, like, I would just expect, like, yeah, I wanna do this. Like, a very clear, concise, and
Yes.
semi-excitable. Like, it doesn't have to be jazz hands, doesn't have to be doing cartwheels, although, oh my god, Hannah, to get off track just a little bit.
No.
Just a little bit.
Okay, go.
Do you know how I used to flirt with women when I was, like, 17, 18?
How?
So, I would be down at this Riverwalk area, and I I would just go up and do a cartwheel in front of them.
Okay, that's super normal. But,
It's
like, I would
normal.
expect that from a 12-year-old Ethan.
Yeah, well, dude.
You'd show off. You'd peacock.
Oh, ooh, there we go. That's a good way to
Mhm.
call it. But I did a pretty good damn cartwheel.
And they're like,
Although,
"Damn, let me
if
see
I
the." Never mind. You were 17. I'm not even gonna go there.
if I could have done a backflip, that would have been better.
Boys are so weird.
Yeah, we are. But I was
Look
also
how agile I am. Doesn't that mean I'd be a great mate? Wanna fuck? Like, look at
yeah,
me.
looking back, I don't know why it worked because it was not a very effective. Well, I guess it was effective, but I don't know why it was effective.
But it's goofy. No, I mean, like, you impressed the ladies with your sweet moves. Good for you, man. I mean, a lot of us want a strong counterpart or whatever they're trying to fill.
Can you
Whatever.
answer Kaitlyn's question? What was the acronym, Hannah? V said again.
Cool. Clear, coherent, willing, and ongoing. And I really liked that because clear, you really know what you're getting yourself into. Coherent, you are in a able mindset to do so. Willing, you want to, and ongoing, you can retract your consent anytime you want. Just
Yes.
because you said, yeah, I know, right? Even if you said, I mean, I can tell you how many times people have been like, oh, but I did all this and now you said you would and now you're not. And I'm like, I don't fucking care about your feelings right now because I'm not in the fucking mood where you
No.
weirded me out.
And oh man, I just lost my train of thought.
I said ongoing consent. You can retract your consent at any point.
I totally made a mistake explaining consent in a video, and I had to it was the stupid TikTok, and I was trying to make a point, but I didn't fully think about it, like think it all the way through. And I was saying like the time to ask for consent, like for instance, let's say you and I are going to do some type of drugs together, that you should ask for consent prior to them being on said drugs. However, what I didn't specify is that you still need to again get their consent after, right before, after they're high, but right before you do it. So you almost need two consents in that scenario.
Oh, you're talking about specifically if you're going to be inebriated
Yes,
and hook up with someone. Like,
yes,
okay, you make the plan to do it, and then like when they are in that state, like ask again.
yes. Like don't just
That's really interesting. Yeah, because people say like if they're in like a inebriated state of mind, then they can't consent. So I don't know. I really don't know how to even. I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. Like, is that taking advantage of some? I mean, they consented before and then right before again. I don't know, because like I that just gave me a lot to think about, because I'm like, okay, well, what if they were down and then they were inebriated and then they were kind of down? Yeah, so I don't really know. I don't typically. Well, no.
It's not something we could paint with a broad brush. There is so many avenues to this conversation that perhaps I could even be missing. But first,
Yeah,
I can't get my words out tonight, man.
you're fine.
Consent is crucial.
Yeah. No, and I think the rule of thumb is, if you're ever unclear, because I don't know if I've ever had someone just ask me, hey, is this okay? It's kind of more been implied, and we're kind of just reading each other's signals. And I've been pretty like obvious with my signs, my signals, my body language, which you can also not be 100% certain that is consent unless you ask. So if you're ever not sure, ask. I don't know. I've been pretty, I don't know. I think the difference is I can be kind of aggressive. So
Well, I think it's important to talk about implied consent. That
Mhm.
at
What
one
does that
point,
look like, though? Like, and it can be so different for so many people. Imagine if you're neurodivergent and you aren't able to pick up on social cues the same way. What do you do? What is implied? How do you recognize that? And
well,
that's
that's
what's
why
so interesting.
I don't think you can. And again, there could be stuff I'm missing, and if there is, please point it out to me in the comments. But I don't think you can go off implied, because I'll take, like, even though I'm confident in my ability to read a situation, I recognize that I still could be wrong, and therefore, no matter how many like direct physical cues I've seen, I need that verbal consent to
Yeah.
move forward. Like, hey, do you want to have sex? Or you can't even say, like, I used to think you could say, "Are we doing this?" But are we?
Are we gonna do the hanky panky?
Like, that doesn't even like that doesn't specify. So you need clear, like, hey, are
Yeah.
we going to have sex?
I
In
think
my
I think the difference is like hooking up versus being in a relationship and consent. I mean, have you ever just been with someone and then you just kind of like one thing leads to another and you start having sex? Like, at some point, should one of the parties asked, and whose responsibility is it to ask? Like, I'm
I
genuinely curious. I don't know the answer. This isn't a loaded question. Like,
I think
it,
it's the responsibility of the person making the move.
okay.
The other person isn't like trying to take your clothes off, then why would they need to really ask? It's the person, like the aggressor. Aggressor is such a strong word. The
It's
what
the, what's, help me out. The fucking, okay, I'll think of it later. The person opposite of the recipient, the delivery of the moves. I don't know. I don't know. It's
the
just like it's such
delivery
a it shouldn't be such a confusing thing, but it can be. And
initiator. There we go.
initiator, thank you. If you're initiating something and the other person is just kind of going along with it, that would be a good time to fucking ask.
Yeah,
But what if they're going along with it? Like, should you fucking ask, or is that a clear indicator that they're probably down? Because like I've been in that situation and I don't feel like I've been taken advantage of, because like I was reciprocating.
I'd
So
also
I
like to
don't
say
know. Go ahead.
there's a common objection I see, and this is particularly from, in my experience, politically conservative um, um, people when they make offhanded comments like you should just know, or you should just do it, like that can be incredibly frustrating. Or they say how
Yeah.
asking can ruin, that's what I was trying to say, asking can ruin the moment.
Ugh,
And
no, it
I have
doesn't.
never ever once had a girl be like, damn, you just asked me first, like, I don't want to sleep with you.
Now I don't want to because you asked. Like,
Like,
yeah,
how
I can't
dare
see that
you.
happening. If it does, like, okay, struck out, I guess. And I'm thinking about this now as I'm speaking, and I want to say something. If I'm saying anything problematic, please tell me. Like, people who are viewing, Ethan, anyone who watches this later, I want to share something incredibly personal. Trigger warning. I have not always known what consent looks like. I mean, obviously, I guess we're not like born knowing what consent is. It's something that you learn. But I guess I learned it too late, and I learned it the hard way. And not the hard way. It's like I realized after the fact of being taken advantage of and not being respected. So I kind of like just within the past couple years realized that a lot of things that had happened to me were incredibly not okay. So when it comes to consent, like, yeah, consent's fucking important. You are not entitled to anything. You should ask if you're unsure. If you have to convince someone to have sex with you, that's stupid. Like you that doesn't mean you have game. That means you freaking coerce someone into having sex with you, and that's not okay. But I'm still, I guess maybe I don't have the best understanding of like what is completely normal, because I mean, I'm in the first real healthy relationship of my life at 27, and I guess some people might scoff and be like, okay, you're so young, but for me, that like who's had a long history that started way too early of dating, I guess I'm aware that I still have a lot of learning to do, and am open to the possibility that I might not know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm just doing my best, but I had to say that.
I'm incredibly nervous to cover this topic because I don't want to be the person to mess this up or give someone bad information when it comes to sex and consent. So I'm trying to be very careful with the words that come out of my mouth.
Yeah, same, because like I feel like I might have been jaded along the way, and like while I want to give the best message possible, like I don't want to fuck this up, because I have been a victim of having a skewed perception of consent. I don't want anyone else to go through that, especially someone who's taken my fucking word for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't watch this fucking episode. No. No, honestly, I hope this helps someone, because like things I have learned since, you know, getting older and going through all that and talking to people and studying human sexuality and just interacting with people and studying psychology, like, okay, like I do know that people are not fucking entitled to your body. Ask if you're
No.
not sure, this and that.
And women can be just as bad as men. Like,
Yes.
seriously. I want to be careful with where I go with this.
Okay, can we preface this with, while there is a what do I want to say? It's a disproportionate ratio of
absolutely.
victim versus aggressors, but that doesn't mean that women can't be the fucking dick in the situation.
Yeah. And see, this is where it's like, I don't even want to talk about this because I feel like talking about this, you sound like a douche. So I don't even want to say a
Why?
word. Because
No, I mean, I think if you share, like our goal is to like normalize these kinds of conversations, and something that people don't like. When we decided to do this topic, I'm like, and we decided consent, I'm like, yeah, thinking about like all the guys that are fucking assholes. But it's like, okay, but yeah, it's a disproportionate rate. It can be proven. Like girls are fucking victims of a lot of bullshit at a disproportionate rate. But it is still important to recognize and talk about and normalize talking about the things that happen to men. Like that doesn't take away from anything. I mean, you're not going, oh, but what about men? You know what I mean? It's just like you're sharing your experience, and I think that helps people.
It's okay. So here's the situation I have found myself in
We go.
on a couple of occasions. And it would seem, though, that any time I have it's, and I'm going to be clear, this doesn't weigh on me in any capacity. I only don't like talking about it because it's just, when a guy talks about it, it's to get, how do I want to be so careful right now, man. Anytime I've brought it up, the immediate response is, well, dude, a girl was making moves on you. What's the big deal? Like, and it's like, well, if she's touching me, just assuming I want to be touched, that kind of is a big deal.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really toxic mindset to assume that men should always be ready to have sex, ready and willing, because that's
Right.
not the fucking case. I mean, if you're a guy who will just fuck anyone and anything, like, more power to you, that's fine, as long as the other person's consenting, but it's very harmful to assume that just because you're a man, you're going to want to have sex, and I
Agree.
think that's an important part of important part of the conversation when talking about consent.
And yeah, people in the bar industry is terrible. People constantly have no problem coming up and groping you, like
Right.
men, women alike. And it's always bewilders me because I never understood that behavior. Because yeah, I had my douchey stuff at times, but I could be wasted and I would never just go up and grope somebody without their permission. Like that shit's just I don't get why people invade other spaces like that.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know, because you have a skewed perception of consent and you have work to do. That's me
um
being, empathetic.
I forgot to talk. So when we talked about enthusiastic informed consent, the informed part
Right.
is also just as important. And what informed means is putting any and all risks on the table. So that means if you have something, you need to be open about it before somebody sleeps with you, not after.
That's a whole 'nother thing, but yeah, absolutely. You should absolutely disclose any risks involved. That's your responsibility. It's not always fun, and it can be scary, and I get that, but it is absolutely your responsibility to do so.
Okay, Hannah, I definitely want your opinion on this topic. Danielle asks, what about legal age difference? Consents like 16 to 18-year-old and a 19-year-old male, although it's illegal.
I don't know how to comment on that because
It's
I just really don't know. Don't have sex till you're married. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I don't know. I mean, don't do anything illegal, but also ugh, why'd we fucking pick this topic, dude? Because, like, I know, like, 18-year-olds who've slept with 16-year-olds, and, like, when I was 16, that wouldn't have been a problem, but looking back, that, like, weirds me out, and I don't know if I'm alone in that.
it weirds you out that when you were 16, you were with an 18-year-old? Or
No, like, the just concept of a 16 and an 18-year-old being together. When I was a teenager, that concept itself would not have bothered me. Now that I'm older, looking back, I'm like, it just, like, makes me feel icky.
it,
'Cause I'm like, "Oh, it's like a 2-year
it
difference," but I'm like, "Yeah, but, like, you're an adult and that other person isn't." So, like,
but
I
aren't
don't
they
know. I
really
think I would just need to honestly, here's my answer. I think I needed to, like, honestly just, like, do more research in what is developmentally appropriate for, like, teenagers because I don't know. I personally started having sex, in my opinion, way too fucking young. So that's, like, a really weird thing for me to, like, honestly give a definitive answer on. And I'm, like, super nervous. It's like, Hannah doesn't know if, like, a 3-year difference is okay or not. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't fucking know. Because, like, I have a weird skewed perception of consent that I'm still working out, especially when it comes to, like I don't even wanna talk about can we not talk about teenagers having sex?
No problem, dude.
Can we just
Sorry.
not? I just
No,
I
that's
don't wanna do
fine.
that right now.
Moving on. This is a definitely an interesting topic. Um,
Okay, but really quick, I wanna end with that is a really good question, and I think it's worth looking into. It really is, but, like, I don't know. And someone just said, asexual atheist, 16-year-old people are in the process of maturing. It seems that the adult should avoid that. I agree. Like when you hit 18, like, yeah, you are like legally an adult now. And I'm like, maybe just like don't. Like, I get that when you're that age, it doesn't feel like a big difference, but like, don't, you don't. That's okay. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I'm gonna agree with Hannah.
Okay. Like
Okay.
minors and not minors. Don't do that. I'm not okay with that. It makes me feel icky. Okay, go ahead.
Well, so yeah, okay. Well, I was debating on telling a story, but I'm
Okay.
not gonna tell that story because it happened when I was younger, so never mind.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, no, I think we've, like, actually found the place where Ethan and I actually feel, like, super weird talking about something when it
Yeah.
comes to and we're not doing an episode on kink, like, it's just, like, this holds so much weight psychologically and
Dude,
physically that it's like, I just I don't know, I don't wanna fuck it up.
yeah, I agree, so we're gonna stay away from that and move on.
No, I mean in general, like, not even with what we were just talking about, just, like, in general, this episode tonight, Ethan and I were both just like, "Why do we feel nervous?" It's like, because this topic holds so much weight, like, there's so many freaking people who've been harmed by the lack of consent being, or, executed properly, so
Dude, my chest is, like, pounding right now, like, I'm
Are you
actually
serious? Okay, let's
I'm
talk about
really
can we just talk about nudes for a little bit?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's just yeah, it's like, ugh, it's just like I told you this would be a fucking heavy topic. Like I'm really doing my best here. Nudes. If someone sends you a nude
Don't
out
send
of
one
the
without
blue.
consent.
What?
I said, "Don't send one without consent."
Yeah, like don't send unsolicited nudes. Even and people here we're going back to the thing where I think when people think of like sending unsolicited nudes, you think of unsolicited dick pics. But women do it too. And I think there's this assumption that men are going to be super stoked to receive a picture of your titties or your dick, whatever. No. Or your titty. Yeah. And while I understand why that stereotype exists, you should not assume that that's the case for every guy that you send a picture of your titties to. So ask.
I agree.
Unless it's sorry, go ahead.
No, I, like, found myself in a frustrating situation where someone sent me one, not only without asking, but, like, no, like, warning, like, not safe for viewing or anything like that, and I was opening a message, and fortunately, he didn't see anything, but my nephew was right next to me, and it was an inappropriate photo, and it was like, I'm so glad he didn't see it, but it's like, what the hell, man? Like, don't just send that shit, you gotta ask.
Yeah. I mean, I don't open my phone like I open my phone very rarely when I'm at work, especially because I work with children. But like, I can't even imagine if I opened up a freaking nude. That would ruin my freaking life. I would shit a brick.
By the way, if you want someone who can verify my absolute complete douchebaggery, Danielle Cook would be one of those people.
Okay.
Just saying.
um. Yeah. No. I mean, I think the difference is like when you're in a relationship or you have a fuck buddy or whatever you want to call it. If it's been established already that like sending nudes is welcome, you've talked about it, you've done it before, it's it's been welcomed. I'm like, yeah, send a picture of your ass. That can be fun. I always like getting a picture of ass when it's from my love.
You know what I don't understand? The rampant spread of dick pics. I feel like a huge chunk of my friends receive these all the time, and it's like, why? Like, what is the man thinking when he does that? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Is he like grabbing that picture and like, dude, she's gonna want this so bad when she sees it? Like,
I
what
think
what's
it's
going on in his head?
I don't know because I don't do it, but I think that it might be a dominance thing when it's unsolicited like that.
Dominant.
Because yeah, like sex and trigger warning, a sexual assault is not always about sex. It's sometimes about power and dominance. And sometimes I feel like this is just my perspective. Like if you send me a dick pic, I'm gonna assume that you're like being scary a lot of the time because it feels scary. It doesn't feel sexy. I feel like freaked out because I'm just like I don't know. It just feels so invasive and especially when it's unwelcomed. So that's just my perspective. I feel like guys do it to be like, she saw my dick and now she can't unsee it. The whore. Like guys are like fucking weird like that. I don't
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Am I wrong? Because
I
that's like
don't
how I perceive it.
I don't understand that. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like I've never like once was like, "Hey, I'm just going to do this." Like I want to find one of these guys and talk to them because I want to find out like what they genuinely are thinking when they go through this. Like what are the
Yeah, I
steps
don't
they go
know.
through in their head? Are they just sending it out randomly to a bunch of different women? Like
They're just
what's
mass sending it. Uh, here's something, in regards to sending nudes. If you send nudes to someone, that doesn't obligate the other person to reciprocate. I've had guys send me nudes out of the blue and then say, "Your turn," and, like, one, you sent me a picture of your dick. Whether I'm into you or not, like, that's irrelevant. But when you assume or you feel entitled for a response or for a picture back of my body, that fucking pisses me off. Like, send me a picture of your dick, whatever. I'm gonna just think you're an asshole. But like, then, sorry, I was reading someone saying that they agreed with me, and thank you, Puck. Um, yeah, that pisses me off to a different level. It's like, how fucking dare you? First of all, it's just I don't know. It's the entitled thing that really bothers me. You want to read that one?
Yes, I do. There was a study in 2018. The researchers found that men who sent unsolicited images tended to be younger, more narcissistic, and more sexist. The most common motivation for sending such an image was hoping to receive sexual pictures in return, followed by hoping to turn on the recipient. Okay, that makes sense because a lot of the times after they get called out for sending that, they have this angry ass response to the women, insulting them. And
Yeah. Thank you, Brandy. And that's actually, I mean, I don't want to shame people who have narcissistic personality disorder. I want to shame the ones who don't take responsibility for it and blame everyone else, which is kind of typical. But that what am I boring you?
no, I'm sorry. I'm
I'm kidding.
so
It's
sorry,
nine.
man.
It's,
Like,
it's 9:30.
okay,
I'm fucking with you. No.
no,
But no,
I
that makes sense. That's like a typical narcissistic response when you don't get what you want is to throw a fit.
I haven't gotten much sleep this week, unfortunately. So I am really hoping tonight after the show that I'm just gonna pass out.
That's what I'm gonna do. I have spring break next week, and it has felt like the longest week ever leading up to it. Um, but yeah, another thing I wanted to cover is being honest with your own boundaries. Because this kind of goes back into me not having the best education on consent and what I could and could not do or say, as a woman, as a girlfriend, as a person. Um, so I think the more you educate yourself is good, but also being honest and firm with what you're comfortable with and not saying yes to something just because you feel like you have to. I understand that sometimes you're not always safe to say no. And that's a whole nother thing. But, when you're in that situation where you feel coerced or I don't know, don't have pity sex, I guess, unless you really want to.
No,
But
don't let anyone guilt you into having sex. Um, ever. If you don't want it, just you know, say so.
yeah, and just because you're in a relationship with someone, just because you have had sex with someone before, just because you said you would have sex with someone, you're allowed to retract that at any time. At any time. And if the person gets mad, they're being a little baby and give them a diaper, and because they're being a little fucking baby.
This brings up something that might actually really infuriate you. Have you heard of the transformed housewife?
Okay, I literally was going to screen grab one of her tweets because I saw it like an hour ago. And it was like, it is your duty as a wife to fuck your husband. Except she said it in like this drawn out, stupid ass way. But basically, that's bullshit. It's fucking
So
bullshit.
she made a video basically saying that trigger warning. Uh, I don't know if I should say the word, but marital RAPE is
Hmm.
not a thing. That it's a woman's job to sleep with her man whenever he wants. And it's like, oh my God, like it's 2021 and we still have people perpetrating that nonsense.
Hey, listen, I listened to some Christian radio on my way to work, just like out of curiosity. Like, I want you to know I surround myself with atheists, but I refuse to live in an echo chamber, okay? Once in a while will be like, I want to listen. I just want to see what's going on. And because I live in the Bible Belt, every other freaking radio station is Christian radio. And the shit that they were saying, man, I was like, come on. Like, enough said. But anyway, the transformed wife has a lot of fucking problematic opinions, especially when it comes to fucking male entitlement in marriage. It's okay. Think for yourself, but also, like, how do I say this without being so demanding? Don't fucking listen to that bitch.
Dude,
she's fucking stupid.
I'll
say that on air. Come at me.
I am cutting that bit out, and that is going on TikTok.
No, like, okay, so like those, okay. I like to speak. I like to speak. Obviously, I have a fucking podcast, but I cut myself off because I'm thinking I'm going in a different direction with my sentence. Anyway, I like to live a life of truth. I'm a very emotional person, but I like to hold opinions that are rooted in logic and reason and truth. When I'm talking about these things about consent and about sexuality, I'm trying to come from a place of truth. And it's the truth that when you have an opinion like that, and when you're perpetuating the idea that consent doesn't fucking matter when you're a woman or when you're a partner, just because you signed some fucking God contract, it's fucking harmful. And as I'm going to get real weird for a second. I might get real preachy. I'm standing on my soapbox. As a victim of sexual assault and as a young person who thought that just because I was a girlfriend and a man wouldn't love me unless I fucked him, that fucking ruins your life. Okay, it doesn't ruin my life. I'm doing fine in spite of it. But I had to work really fucking hard to come to terms with that and heal from it. So transferred house, whatever fucking bitch wife, fuck you. That's harmful. It's harmful to think your consent doesn't fucking matter because you have a duty. Okay, I get that, but
I don't.
No, like I get like you have a duty and when you decide to be with someone forever, like there's give and take, there's sacrifice, there's compromise, there's gonna be it. But when it comes to like your fucking bodily autonomy and what you are comfortable with and what your fucking, I don't believe in a soul, but for lack of better words, what your soul is telling you are okay with and what you're not okay with, that should never be compromised.
No.
And if your partner has a problem with that, maybe talk about it, maybe seek counseling, but stand your fucking ground because it matters. It matters.
Nobody owes somebody sex or owes them their body. I don't care if you're married or not. Yes, to an extent, there's give or take, but just no. Like, I just hate the idea that somebody thinks that this woman is trying to tell other women that they owe their husbands their body. It's like, no.
I understand. I understand that lots of people need sex to be happy. I get that. I understand that a lot of people need affection to be happy. I understand that a lot of people need to feel wanted to be happy. If there is a mismatch there in a marriage or in a relationship, that's something worth talking about. But it's not worth something. One shouldn't be thrown out the window just because you entered into that relationship. Like, oh, well, now I have to do everything they say, even though I'm not okay with it. If you're not okay with that, voice it and then go from there. Work it out or don't go your separate ways. If you can't work it out, if someone's not respecting you, fucking run. Or work on it if it really is worth it. You know, my last episode, being in a relationship's about you should feel, for the most part, better than worse. But yeah, no, that's fucking silly. It's fucking silly.
So I want to get to this a little bit more. Puck had said, next do consent mind-altering chemicals, including prescriptions and mind-altering chemicals. Okay, so
Like
I
what?
was thinking about this. At what point? So we talk about alcohol and consent or drugs, but not
Ooh.
pharmaceuticals. So when is it okay? Like, for instance, let's say somebody's starting a new antidepressant or new bipolar medication, and it's not having them, they're not feeling normal as a result. Are you violating their consent? I guess, are you wrong for assuming their consent is how do I word this?
How do
Let's
you
say
know, though? How do you know that, like, how
that's
do you
my
know?
do you wait a week? Do you wait 2 weeks? Do you wait a month? Like, how when is it acceptable? Additionally, let's say someone's going through a traumatic event, and
Oh,
obviously, they are and they confide in you emotionally, and they're kind of, like, connecting with you. Is it wrong to sleep with them knowing that they
like
have
if
all their life is in shambles, and they could just be doing it with you because they're not in their right state of mind? So what like, where is the line in this area?
I think in that kind of situation, communication is key because you don't want to violate, or you don't want to take advantage of someone's vulnerability. I don't know how to speak on the whole mind altering chemicals because I'm trying to like think of a scenario where that would happen, and forgive me, I'm just like it's not clicking, but especially when like I don't know, I've been there where I was like I just opened up to this person, I feel really connected to them, and like now I have this weird trauma bond and I want to sleep with them, and like uh yeah, and they're like, "Whoa, you're a little fucking emotional, maybe not." And don't take advantage of an emotionally vulnerable person. I mean, check in with them. I don't know. Is it wrong to sleep with someone if like you're like, "Whoa, hey, are you okay?" And they're like, "Yes." But it's like, but you're in an emotionally vulnerable state, but you just said yes. Like, I don't know, maybe wait it out. Maybe
So
wait it
how
out.
long do you wait? Like, what if you hang out with them the next day, and the next day they say they're interested too still? Is it okay then? Do you wait 3 days? Do you wait 2 weeks? Like, I can't figure this one out.
Dude, I don't fucking know.
Now,
We're
addition
like splitting hairs at this point, but like, no,
no,
it's
but
worth
I'm
talking. It's
curious because, okay, here's the thing.
it's
I
important
found
though.
my
Like, it really is.
I found myself in a situation that has now prompted me to question, like, what is the, uh, acceptable thing to do? How long do you wait?
Hmm. Till I don't know, dude. I don't have the answers to the whole
Come on,
world.
Hannah, you're supposed to know this. You're my co-host.
I'd have to be in the situation. It's like I don't think it's definitive.
Alright, so then,
It varies from person to person, okay? And I think that also goes with it coming on the responsibility of people who need to be honest with their boundaries and their level of comfortability.
so
'Cause,
another
like,
thing,
don't put the other person in a fucking fucked up position where, like, you super
right.
duper convince them that you're okay to I don't even wanna, like, say this, but, like, don't convince someone that you're consenting, then be like, "I didn't want to." But I don't know, I can't really think I don't wanna say, like, I don't know anyone that that's happened to, so therefore it doesn't happen. I'm sure it does, but
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. There was a medication I used to be on that would seriously, like, throw my head in a blender. Like, let's say someone else was taking that medication, or I mean, we don't know how medication affects each person. So if someone is on a
right.
medication, that can affect them psychologically, is it just as wrong as it is when they're under the influence of alcohol?
I mean, I think alcoholics specifically does things to you that have been proven, like it lowers your inhibition or whatever. So I don't know. Ask a psychiatrist, I suppose.
Real
I'm
quick,
sucking tonight.
I do want to, yeah, I don't want to point to her comment, but I just want to point out that Arden of Eden and Katie Montgomery have a new show that's debuting on the line this Saturday. It's going to be tackling trans issues, and it is a call-in show. I forgot the time, so Arden, if you could put it in the comments and go, I guess, subscribe to the line to see it this Saturday.
That's awesome. And I love can you put that back up? What Arden of Eden just said? It said alcohol specifically alters your judgment. Psychotropics might alter your mind, but I don't think they alter your capacity to consent. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's why I'm having kind of a hard time figuring that one out, because like I haven't really heard of like medications that make you consent to things that you wouldn't otherwise.
No,
But
but
I could be wrong. I don't know.
it does alter. There are certain medications where I have felt so very different and would react very different than I would in other scenarios.
Okay. Well, then is it like your responsibility? Never mind. I don't know. Whose responsibility is at that point? I mean, I think there's also like a certain level of like the other person doesn't know like what you would be acting like otherwise. So like we can't really fault them for just like not knowing, you know?
I do
Like
want to
you
get
just try to do your fucking best. That's all I'm trying to say.
Puck says, Ethan and I have both been karaoke DJs. We know what it's like when someone needs liquid courage to sing on stage. They want to do it, but they need to be intoxicated. And that's very true. And it's funny, when Puck first said this to me, I was like, holy shit. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, dude, I let a whole bunch of people who were heavily intoxicated karaoke.
Okay.
And I'm violating their consent.
Ethan, listen. There's a difference between the shame of, oh, teehee, I fucking sang in front of a bunch of people, and oh, holy fuck, I just like did something that so fucking vulnerable.
There's definitely a huge difference. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I think you can recover differently. I mean, maybe it's different for some people. Some people might be fucking humiliated, but I think it affects you a little different.
Kathia says, should we give every potential partner a psych test before we sleep with them? I mean,
yeah, no. No, it's like I don't want to overcomplicate it, but at the same time, I do want to stress how important it is to do your best and to not knowingly take advantage of someone. Because if you knowingly take advantage of someone, go to therapy, you have fucking work to do. I feel like I say that every fucking episode. Go to therapy, you have work to do.
I think we all do, that's for sure.
Yeah, we all do in a lot of areas, but, you know, don't leave someone with lasting pain, you know?
Agreed. And I would also advise anybody, be very careful of the bar industry. Like, there is a lot of shady people in that industry, like owners.
Ethan, we should be teaching people to not be fucking shady.
I agree, but I'm also going to warn people that they should be careful because people are shady.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is fucking given. Like,
but yeah, you know, how do we start teaching that? Like, do we just keep
violence?
Conversations?
Make an example with their head on a stake.
I can't support that, obviously.
I'm obviously kidding. Wink, wink.
You had like a dead straight serious face.
Did I?
I would never ever want to make you mad. That's for sure.
You don't. You're right.
I feel like Mad Hannah would be so scary.
I'm a fucking witch. I'll tell you what. I'm not ignoring you or texting.
I was
I'm
about to
looking
say,
through my
okay, you got an important phone call you want to take?
No, I take notes on my phone. For anyone wondering, if Hannah on the pickup line picks up her phone during a show, she's looking at her notes related to the show. Maybe in the future, Ethan, I will put them on my computer screen so it looks a little bit more professional.
That's probably a good
But
idea.
for right now, I want to talk about, did I already say a boner is not always consent?
Oh, yes.
I said that before the show and you giggled. So I couldn't remember if I said it during the show. Boner is not always consent. Listen, people,
That's true.
if a man has an erect penis, yes, I understand how one could think that he's ready to have sex with you.
Are you doing an accent?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, just because a guy has a boner, don't always like there's a lot of other things that have to come into effect.
Yes.
So I guess I just wanted to touch on that. I guess I can't really elaborate.
No, I mean, I think that's good enough. I think that is a true statement. Just because
Put that
we
on a
might
shirt.
just because we feel physically aroused does not mean we're ready to have sex.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been there. I'm just like, I want to, but I know I'm not ready.
It's so weird though, and fascinating to me how much like what interests you in sex changes as you get older. Like when I was younger, it was more about looks. Now it's like it's flipped, and it's like, man, they gotta have like a decent personality. They gotta have a brain, and it's like the looks matter.
A
So
girl
much.
who's got a brain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
You move on. Okay. Yeah.
what?
I'm thinking of A Girl Worth Fighting For from Mulan. They talk about like what they look for in a woman. Listen to it after and you'll understand.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Fuck. How your interests. I know. I'm being the fucking squirrel chaser tonight.
Yeah, like how like intimacy is more of a turn on now versus like when I was younger. It was like, yeah, I didn't like that. It's so weird how that changes. It's like the wiring adapts, or I don't know how to explain it.
It's almost like your fucking brain finished developing.
There we go. It's good. It's good. Okay, no. I hope it's not finished developing, because if it has, I'm screwed.
No, no. Clothing, that's an obvious one. Fucking naked person is not always consent either. Fucking scantily clad person. They're not asking for it. But it's like, I feel like that should be obvious, but it's wild. Sometimes I feel like I am in an echo chamber because I have such a shock when I see other people's fucking weird ass opinions when it comes to these kinds of things. People are like, yeah, but I could see her fucking titties. And it's like, you really think that means it's okay to fucking grab them? I'll fucking slap you with my titties.
Oh, I keep losing my train of thought, dude. Hannah, I don't know what I would do without you this episode. I am completely failing.
Really? Because I feel, I don't know. We normally like have a giggly old time, but I guess I just really wanted to take this one seriously. And I guess as much as we could. I'm not really a serious person.
Because I don't want to do any damage on this topic. That's for
No,
sure.
I really don't. And if I fucked up, please let me know. But you know, like we always say, or I always sometimes say, Ethan and I are not professionals. We just have a lot of weird experience, and we hope you might learn something, relate to it, or at least
Yeah.
have fun while you're here.
Hopefully have.
Why the fuck aren't you guys calling in?
Yeah, I know. We need callers.
Yeah.
Well, it's the end of the show. I guess we really don't need callers now.
No, I'm
But
saying like in general, we didn't get last week and this week, no callers, but that's okay. We gave our call screener a really easy go.
that's true. Speaking of which, would you like to bring our call screener on now?
If they're okay with that.
Yeah, they're okay with it. I already sent a message.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we'd like to introduce our call screener. Are they our call screener forever or just tonight?
No, forever.
Forever and ever till the end of time. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Secular Rarity.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, but it's not super, super bad. So I guess we can just keep going. But thank you so much. I know we didn't give you a whole lot to do tonight. But I really appreciate your time and you being here. And, you know, hopefully we give you more to do in the future. Guys.
There's somebody now that'll answer your calls, people. Call in.
Yeah, and you can't come on to tell me to go fuck myself anymore.
You can tell me though if you really, really want to. I'll let you.
Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Me?
Yeah.
So I've actually appeared a couple of times on a friend of mine's channel called Ask and Wonder. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it anywhere good podcasts are as well. Eric Murphy actually did a chat with this guy live a couple of years ago. That was how I got connected with him, and then got connected with you wonderful people here. So I'm just excited that you guys are letting me jump on, man. I could be some super creep, so we still have yet to discover that.
Yeah, in that case, we'll just edit this part out later when we find out you're problematic as fuck.
I'm shady.
I would like to say I'm a fairly decent judge of character. However, Puck, this will be a great test. If Secular Rarity turns out to be an asshole, you get me. I will publicly admit that I am not as accurate as I think I am when it comes to reading people.
Is Puck really the best judge of character? I mean, I've never met the guy, but I've seen him, and he seems squirrely. Is he really?
Dude, Puck's wait.
Yeah, he seems awesome.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was kidding.
Yeah, Puck's a great guy, and it's definitely helped me develop as a skeptic. And sometimes it's intense. Dealing with him is intense, but in a good way, because you learn so much.
Yeah, he always brings up some really incredible points. I mean, even in the live chat tonight, you know, talking about the legal age being an arbitrary limit. Yeah, I mean, it is, but there has to be something, right? At which we say this is the point at which somebody is an adult and somebody isn't an adult. I think if we, and I believe me, I am no expert in anything, but I believe some of the most recent studies we've done on like the prefrontal cortex development, that it really doesn't finish developing until closer to 30. So it kind of, you know, there's some indication there that maybe we're not ready to make certain decisions until that age. But obviously, that would be a huge change. That would be a massive change for society as a whole if we weren't considered adults until 30.
Well,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
What always bewilders me is we have 18-year-old. I'm sorry, I know they're legally adults, but to me, they're still kids. 18-year-olds willingly consenting to going to war at times, you know, and signing up for the military. And it's like, they don't even grasp this at times. Like,
they can't even rent a car.
They can't even buy alcohol. But
yeah,
they can
interesting.
run and go shoot people. Like, what? Our country at times is so backwards. Is so weird to me. I don't get it.
You sound like one of those talk shows I've been listening to on my way to work. That's what's wrong with this country. The state's taking over. No, we really appreciate you being there. And yeah, thank you. We look forward to hanging out with you more in the future Thursdays.
Yeah. I am busy the next like 4 Thursdays in a row. I don't know if Ethan told you that or not. But
no, I didn't tell you that.
No.
I can never tell if you're joking.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I can't tell either.
Most of the time, it's pretty much most.
I'm figuring that out very quickly. Oh,
all right.
Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight, and thank you to everyone who's part of this, and thank you, Ethan. And like I said, if I fucked up tonight, let me know, because this is a weird topic for me. So I tried.
And also thank you to our patrons, Cindy PLAZA, Kenneth, Leonard, Kathy, Letto, JumpandShoot, Oz, Philip Leitch, Kaitlyn Beyond, Chianti, and Fava Beans. All of you are awesome. If you like what we do, like and subscribe. We're back here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. Then this Sunday and every Sunday is the Ethan and Jenna show. It's on mental health. And then every Tuesday, we have a show on this channel called The Perspective, where we tackle supernatural claims, paranormal, belief in aliens, conspiracy theories, and all the fun stuff. We've been getting a lot of like paranormal investigators lately, which has been so much fun. So, yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.